Raise your hand if the holidays stress you out even just a little bit. All that shopping, all that cooking, all that preparing, all that wrapping. Even when we love our families and love spending time with them, whatever holidays you celebrate, I am wondering if perhaps they're just a little bit stressful sometimes. And if so, stay tuned for this week's episode because I'm going to share with you 7 tips that you can use to de stress the holidays. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. The stresses that accompany big holiday gatherings are myriad. So, yeah, you're about to face yet another year of listening to your curmudgeonly uncle drone on and on and on while running around the house trying to ensure that everyone gets enough appetizers into their bellies before the wine really starts flowing. And at the same time, you're trying to make sure that your cousin's new baby doesn't end up with RSV when all you were trying to do was make sure that everyone had a great time together. But even though the holiday season is always bound to be just a little bit stressful, you have a little more agency than you think. In fact, the better you plan, the more relaxed you'll be, no matter the situation. So, I want to share a few things with you that you can do to set yourself up for success and to ensure that your in person celebrations are a time to actually celebrate. So, I'm going to share with you 7 distinct tips that you can use right now to ensure that this holiday season is less stressful than the last one. So, number one, define what a safe gathering looks like to you right now, right? Do you really want to be the one that brings COVID or the flu or RSV or even just a bad head cold to the party? For me, this means a couple of things. So, one, I'm keeping up to date on all my boosters, COVID, flu, et cetera, all that stuff. Two, if I have the sniffles, I will be wearing a mask after I've already checked in with the host about whether it's still okay to come. And if I'm hosting and folks are in my house and they're exhibiting any symptoms, sorry, then I'm letting folks know before they come over so they can make their own decision about whether spending time with us is worth the risk of getting sick. Now, you might have very different guidelines for yourself than I do, right? Uh, and now is the time to think about those. They don't have to be the same as mine. You can have your own, of course, but what are your guidelines so that you don't have to be thinking about it when somebody is sick or when you're about to go somewhere and you notice that your kid is, dribbling green snot out of their nose or whatever. All right. Tip number 2. Make a big picture game plan. So if you are hosting, especially if you're hosting, like get out a spreadsheet, make a meal plan, choose your recipes, write down the ingredients you need, check your fridge, check your cabinets, make sure you know what you've got. And then tip number 3, just make it easy on yourself and get those groceries delivered. Over the past few years, many of us have embraced delivery in a way that we wouldn't have before. I had never actually used Instacart pre-pandemic because I did not want to pay that upcharge. But 4 years later, well, let's just say I have not been to Costco in a really long time, but I still have, a Costco-sized thing of toilet paper sitting in my closet. But I am, also thinking about all of the things you could do with that time. And that's why I'm suggesting get it delivered. So once you've got a comprehensive list, make that order. And then, make yourself a cocktail or a mocktail while you wait for your groceries in the comfort of your own home. And make sure to give the biggest tip you can to that delivery person. They are doing a hard job and they deserve to be well compensated too. So, number 4, make a timeline. If you are hosting, make a timeline, especially if you're cooking, make a timeline working backwards from the mealtime. Figure out what you need to start cooking or preparing each of your dishes, like what needs to be in the oven when, etc. You want to prep this timeline and post it somewhere visible, and you want to refer to it often so you're not scrambling around. You could take this even one step further and you could put reminders into your phone or Alexa or Google Home. You could add little reminders like, put roast in the oven at 11 a.m. or whatever it is. Now, number 5, Do what you can in advance. Set yourself up for success. Give your future self a nice little gift. Spend a few hours in the days ahead of your gathering prepping and chopping all your vegetables or measuring out all the dry goods for your breads or your pie crusts. Get, an extensive mise en place going. Make sure that you got everything you can done early. This is going to significantly reduce the time that you spend in the kitchen the day of your celebration, and it's going to make sure that the whole operation runs a lot more smoothly. If you've got family staying with you, make those beds, set out those towels, do that stuff like up to a week in advance. Your guests will be really surprised at how relaxed you look when they finally arrive. Now, number 6. So let's say you're a guest somewhere. You want to agree with whoever it is you're going with, whether that's your family, a date, etc. Agree on a safe word and a let's get out of here script. So if you'll be the guest, you want to have something, some signal, some secret signal that you all know so that you can kind of signal each other when it's time to get out of there. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but you also probably know you have an upper limit on how much time you can spend with others before you are just done. And if the time that you need to leave is far earlier than might be considered customary to leave, then plan on a little script that you might want to have in advance. So, a couple of things that, I can offer you that I may or may not have used in the past. One, it's been so lovely to see everyone, but we're just totally exhausted. Time to call it a night for us. Or, I wish I could stay longer, but we have to get up really early tomorrow. Or, our dog is missing and we've got to head out. Thank you so much. I mean, up to you whether you want to do a little white lie. Now, number 7, make a list of things that you can be grateful for in advance. You know that saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder? Well, cliches are cliche for a reason, and it's because they contain a grain of truth. So even if you're happy to be able to celebrate together, that doesn't mean that your relatives won't grate on your nerves, especially when you're all together in the same physical space for a long time. And especially if you have family on both sides of the political spectrum. So, right now, start making a list of what you're grateful for. Could be anything, right? It could be, the flowers on the trees outside or whatever. It could be that you have your health. Just start making a list of things that you're grateful for. And then return to this list whenever you need a little mood boost. Now, in fact, some studies show that the stress hormones are up to 23% lower in people who cultivate gratitude. So not only will this help you when you're in the throes of something very stressful, but also just in general, gratitude increases happiness and that increases productivity and all that good stuff. So this last tip of just creating a list of some things that you're grateful for is going to do you really well in a number of different varieties. When you plan, you're better able to enjoy yourself and be present in the moment. Holidays are no different. A little work on the front end goes a long way towards your own happiness and the happiness of others. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Do More, Stress Less podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with somebody who could use a little less stress in their life. And make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're excited to take action or you need a little extra support, check out the free resources available on my website or schedule a free consultation call with me. You can do both of these at alexishasselberger.com. See you next time.